This press conference is scheduled to kick off our annual Click It or Ticket campaign. It's a national campaign by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, excuse me. The Click It or Ticket campaign is to increase awareness and seatbelt usage and to let citizens know how seatbelt saves lives. Also, we also do enforcement and education when we're talking about seatbelt usage. We all know that seatbelt saves lives. Regular seatbelt usage is the single most effective way to protect people and reduce fatalities in motor vehicle crashes. Statistics have shown that passenger vehicle occupants in a single vehicle crash who were buckled up survived the crash, and that when the seatbelts were worn correctly, it minimized their injuries. Yet, nearly 1 in 5 Americans still fail to regularly wear their seatbelts when driving or riding in a motor vehicle. Our goal for the state of Tennessee is to save lives and to encourage seatbelt usage. That is why we participate with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration with the Click It or Ticket campaign, which runs May 23rd to June 4th. West Tennessee agencies will increase enforcement efforts throughout this campaign. Specifically, we will have increased saturation patrols on Friday, May 26th, and Saturday, May 27th, where we're going to be out in record numbers looking for violators, motor vehicle occupants who are not wearing their seatbelts, and more importantly, motor vehicle occupants who have children in their cars and do not have them properly restrained and child restraint devices. Now I'd like to call one of the most vocal highway traffic safety advocates, our director of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, Vic Donahoe.
Thank you. And she said everything that I was going to say, so no, I'm just kidding. I first want to thank the media for being here. Without you, we cannot get the education out to the many people that we want to reach, the many citizens of this state. And we can do it one by one with these law enforcement personnel, but we cannot reach the magnitudes that you can, and we appreciate you being here. This Click It or Ticket is a seatbelt enforcement campaign, and that's our primary focus. However, texting and driving, impaired driving, will all be violations that law enforcement will be looking for. I want to thank the Tennessee Highway Patrol, the Madison County Sheriff's Department, the Shelby County Sheriff's Department, Memphis Police Department, Jackson Police Department, and all of our law enforcement partners here in the 21 counties that make up the West Tennessee region. Our mission is to change driver behavior through education and enforcement. We accomplish this goal by partnering with law enforcement agencies and safety advocates across the state, from judges to prosecutors to nonprofits. We partner with anyone that's willing to pass the message of traffic safety. As Brenda said, on May 22nd through June the 4th, will be a concentrated effort all across the state for promoting Click It or Ticket or enforcing the primary seatbelt law. We ask that everyone buckle up every time. Buckle up before you start up. And to the parents, please make sure your children are buckled up and properly restrained before you leave.
How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Now we got a good contingent out here.
Yes, we do, Mayor.
Well, we appreciate this program. You know, you can say how many are attributed to distracted driving, but I know there's got to be a lot of them, and I'll have to admit, I'm one of those that almost was one of those statistics pulling into my street one day, dead end. My phone buzzed, I looked down, and when I looked up, I slapped my neighbor's mailbox with my mirror, so I've got a lasting example of that. I do have a proclamation here to kind of commemorate this day that I'd like to read for everybody. I promise you it's not as long as the state proclamations. Come on, step up. Reads, whereas the summer kicks off and families begin to hit the road for summer vacations, local law enforcement is partnering with the Tennessee Highway Patrol Office, THPO, to remind motorists to click it or ticket. From May 22nd to June 4th, 2017, participating agencies across the state will increase seatbelt enforcement as part of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's nationwide mobilization. And whereas according to Tennessee's Integrated Traffic Analysis Network, Titan, 349 people killed in Tennessee traffic crashes last year were not wearing a seatbelt. This represents 34% of the state's total traffic fatalities in 2016. Whereas although the state's average seatbelt usage rate increased from 86.2% in 2015 to 88.95% in 2016, Tennessee is still nationally classified as a low-use state. In 2017, the THSO will be striving to change this by achieving 90% or higher. Whereas the goal of the THSO to prevent fatalities and keep the roadways safe, and has asked every Tennessean to buckle up every trip, every time, because a simple click of the seatbelt will save many lives and all lives matter. Whereas because 57% of unrestrained fatalities occur at night between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., the primary focus on the Click It or Ticket campaign will be on nighttime enforcement. Participating agencies will be taking a no-excuse approach to seatbelt law enforcement. The maximum penalty for a seatbelt violation in Tennessee is $50. Now therefore, we, Jerry Gist, Mayor of the City of Jackson, and Jimmy Harris, Mayor of Madison County, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim Monday, May 15, 2017 as Click It or Ticket Day in Jackson, Madison County, and urge all our citizens to support the law enforcement agencies in their efforts to save lives, make our streets and highways safer for travel by targeting motorists who disregard seatbelt laws, speed, or drive impaired. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. My name is Colonel Sam Hines with Memphis PD. I would like to state on the Click It or Ticket to really encourage people throughout the state of Tennessee to buckle up. I think one of the goals for law enforcement in Tennessee is to be to a point where we really don't write any tickets for seatbelt violation. I can't think of how low that will cut our death fatalities down in the ticket portion, writing where we have accidents where seatbelts are not utilized. I work in the traffic division in Memphis, and we last year had something like about 122 fatalities that was involved in accidents. And probably about a fourth of those, or maybe even more, happened where the drivers or the passengers in the cars did not have on their seatbelts. And it's really strange to an officer when we come up on a scene and we see what we think is somewhat of a simple impact. But when that person or the passengers in that car did not have their seatbelt on, the end results, especially when an individual is thrown out of the car, and in most cases the car comes tumbling and rolling over that individual and causing a death that could have very well been saved, or a life that could have been saved if the individual had had on a seatbelt. Another disheartening fact that we see all too often is when a mother or a grandmother has a young child and they're driving down the road because of that child may have been crying or just wanting to have that child next to them, and they'll have them in the seat with them while driving and no seatbelt. And it just goes through, it sends a chill moment through one's body to know what could simply happen if an individual ran a stop sign at the next intersection where this person may be headed. So we encourage it. I would like to get to a point where law enforcement in Tennessee is not writing any tickets for ticket failure to buckle up or fasten your seatbelt in the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
I think what the Colonel said is very appropriate, and he drove home some points that we have seen in Madison County this last year. Several people who died in fatalities were not wearing their seatbelts. Children were not wearing their seatbelts. Think about the young people that never buckle up when they get in their vehicle. That's very important, and older people too. But you know, if you go somewhere and you know the possibilities are great that you're going to get hurt, what are you going to do? You're going to protect yourself. And it's a very simple thing when you get in the car is reach around, pull that, and buckle it. you know, that's gonna save your life or keep you from serious injuries. We've had several that actually had seat belts on, otherwise would have died and been in the hospital for months. But because they had their seat belt, it saved their life and it saved lots of other problems. Your cars are a safety vehicle now with airbags and everything. When you put that seat belt on and the airbag comes out, it holds you. Otherwise, it can damage you. So please reach out, buckle in, and help save a life. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. That concludes the press conference, but before we go inside, I would like to thank some of the staff that are here from Nashville, and that's the Deputy Director of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, Jason Ivey, Program Manager Shandy Smith, Program Manager Kim Van Atta, and Program Manager Deborah Scruggs, who's inside. I also want to thank Brenda. She is an integral part of pulling these partners together with one common message and one common goal, and that's to save lives. Also, this is Police Memorial Week. I can probably say no one behind me has not been touched by a death of a law enforcement officer. So as we go in to have our meal, I want everyone just to think about the families of these law enforcement officers and the impact that their deaths have had on law enforcement across the nation. Just recently, as a matter of fact, Saturday, we lost a Murray County deputy. And by all accounts, he was not wearing his seatbelt. So not wearing your seatbelt, law enforcement officers are not immune to not wearing their seatbelts. Not immune to the crash, to the injuries that not wearing your seatbelt can cause. So I asked all of the law enforcement agencies to wear their seatbelts when they're out on patrol and as they enforce this traffic law very, very strongly during the next, from May 22nd to June the 5th. And thank everyone for being here.
Thank you, Director. That concludes our press conference.